All right, good day. Hope that you're doing well. In this video, we're going to be doing question from your previous question paper from the 2022, right? So we're going to be starting off with question 5. Now, question 5, they're telling us that, okay, in the diagram ABDC lie on the circle with center O, right? So now line DB is equals to BC, okay? Now, state all relevant reasons on your statement. Now, if A is equals to X, now let me indicate my A with X. So this is my A. If this is equals to X, now state with with reasons two other angles that are equal to X, right? Now, first I can see that 8 on the circumference, right? So I want you to note something. So I'm going to see if I could find an angle in the same segment as A. So let me try and highlight that here. So here, I want you to see this, right? So every time whenever I have an angle on the circumference like this, I'm going to try and see if I have another angle which is in the same segment as this angle, right? Now, if you could see the butterfly, this A here, it will be in the same segment with this C2, right? So I'm going to say that, okay, my C2 is going to be equals to A, and they're both going to be equals to X. My reasons will be angles in the same segment. In the same segment. Now, I was told that CB, this line, is equals to this line. Now, as a result, the type of triangle that is formed, so let me just try and draw it here on the side. Right, so this is my C, this is my B, this is my D. And I was told that this line is equals to that line. So as a result, can you see the type of triangle that is being formed? It's an isosceles triangle. So meaning that your base angles, which is C2 as well as your D3, they're going to be equal to one another. So another angle that is equals to X, it will be my D3. Right, so I'm going to say D3 is equals to C2. And both of them, they're going to be equals to X. Why? Because these are base angles of an isosceles triangle, right? Triangle, right? So I've identified two other angles that are equals to X. Now let me try and erase here and write those angles that are equal to one another in terms of X. So this here, as I said, this would be X. This C2, it will be X. Same applies to this D3, it will be X. Right, now this would be helpful moving forward. So let me also try and erase here on the side. Here my two angles with C2, and I wrote the reasons there, right? So I'm just D3. Now here, if we're given that O1 is 94 degrees, now let me try and identify my angle O1. O1 is 94 degrees, we need to determine D2, right? So here's my D2, and I'm told that this O1 here, it's what value? It's 94 degrees. So this is 94. Now, I want to try, so every time, right, I try to separate my shape, right? So I can see that O1 is inside this triangle ODC. So I'm going to try and separate it on the side here. This is O, this is C, this is my angle D, right? This is D2, this is C1, and this is O1. And with the information I was given, this here, it's 94. Right, now, I want you to note something. Remember your line from center to circumference, it would be your radius. So every time whenever I'm referred to an angle which is in the center, right, first I'm going to try and see if I could use that principle of angle at center is twice the angle at circumference, or I would try to see if I could use that principle of my radii, right? So here I could see that as a result, my OC is going to be equals to my OD, right? So this would be the first point I would mention. OC is equals to OD. So let me name my triangle. In triangle, so triangle I'm working on is ODC, triangle ODC, right? And I said, all right, OD would be equals to OC. And reason being, they are both radii. So as a result, the type of triangle that would be formed is an isosceles triangle. So as a result, my D2 would be equals to my C1, right? So my D2 is this, these are base angles of an isosceles triangle. Right, now, because these are equal to one another, if I take my O1, so let me write it in a different marker, O1 plus D2 and C1, I expect to get 180. Why is that? Sum of angles in a triangle. Right, so as a result, my O1, I was given it as 94, so I'm going to do the calculations here. 94 plus C1 and C2, so basically plus C1 and D2 is going to be equals to 180, meaning that my angle C1 and D2 added together they would be equals to 180 minus 94, right? Which is 86. And because these two angles are equal to one another, I'm going to divide this by 2. As a result, my C1 and D2, both these angles, they're going to be equal to 43. So both these angles are going to be equal to 43. Now remember to show these workings on your answer sheet. So now I've determined my angle D2 as 43 degrees. Now determine B1 plus B2. Now let me highlight those. So let me try and B1 and B2. So try and highlight them here. So these are my two angles that I need to try and determine, right? So I need to determine their actual value. Okay, now what information can I use? So here, remember this principle of I have this is angle at circumference, and as a result, this angle at center, it will be 2 times this angle at circumference. So basically here, my first point would be O2, it will be 2 times B1 plus B2. And my reason is angle at center, it's 2 times the angle at circumference. All right, so now let me find my O2. So how would I find my O2? O1 plus O2, they're going to be equals to 360 degrees, right? So let me write this here. O1 plus O2, they're going to be equals to 360, right? These are revolution angles, right? Right? Or these two angles are angles around the point. So as a result, remember I was given my O1 as 94 degrees, meaning that my angle O2, this is going to be equals to 266 degrees, right? So here, 266, it is equals to 2 times B1 plus B2. Now remember, I'm looking for the value of both my B1 added to my B2. So as a result, to find this, I need B1 plus B2. I would need to divide both sides by the 2. As a result, angle B1 plus angle B2, they would be equals to 266 divided by 2. And both these angles B1 and B2, they would be equals to 133 degrees. So I found B1 and B2 as 133 degrees. So let me try and so I found these angles here, both of these angles as 133. Now let me see what the preceding question is saying. Hence or otherwise determine x. Now I want you to note something here, right? So I'm going to try and separate this triangle. Can you see it's an isosceles triangle, CBD, right? So I'm going to try and draw it here, triangle CBD. So this was my C, B, and this is D. Now remember this line, it's equals to that line, right? In accordance to this information, and we have found angle B1 plus B2 to be 133, meaning that we have this angle B here as 133. So we need to determine x. Now remember here before I said that these two angles C2 as well as D3, they are both equals to x, right? Before, right? So now both these angles are equals to x, and we need to solve for the value of x. So here I'm going to first start by saying that if I take my angle B plus my angle C, to be specific, I have C2 and D3, right? Let me name my triangle first. In triangle CBD, right? It's important for you to name the triangles that you'll be doing your workings on. Now, I expect here to get 180 degrees, while these are sum of angles in a triangle. Now, as a result, my angle B as a whole is 133 plus x plus x. This would be equals to 180 degrees. So now, 133 plus 2x, it's 180. Now, taking the 133 to the other side, 2x it will be equals to 180 minus 133, which is equals to 47 or 47. And now I'm looking for x, not 2x. So to get rid of this 2, I'm going to divide it on both sides. So as a result, my value of x would be 47 over 2. Now punching that into my calculator, this is the same as 23,5. And this would be all for this question. So in the next video, we're going to be proceeding with Euclidean geometry questions, right? So make sure you stay tuned. Thank you.